Hello students, myself is Puneet from Prep Kirpa classes. Our today's topic is crop production and management. The farmers produce different types of crops in their fields, but producing the crop is not an easy task. The farmers have to work hard in their fields. For growing crops, the farmers have to perform a series of activities in a particular sequence over a period of time. This course will enable us to have a general view of all the activities which are performed by the farmers to produce crop. So let us start. In this course, we will discuss number 1, what is the meaning of crop? Number 2, what is the meaning of kharif crop and rabi crop? Third, what are the 7 agricultural practices or activities which the farmers have to perform in a particular sequence over a period of time? Fourth, what is the meaning of preparation of soil? Fifth, what is meant by irrigation? What are the two main modern methods of irrigation? Sixth, why excessive irrigation is harmful to crops? 7. Why is it necessary to sow seeds at appropriate depth and distance? Next, what are organic foods? Why organic food is expensive? 9. Despite favorable climatic conditions, a farmer's crop failed to give good yield. Give the possible reasons for this. 10. What is difference between fertilizer and manure? 11. Leguminous plants do not require nitrogenous fertilizers. Why? And green plants synthesize their own food. Animals, including humans, cannot make their own food. Where do animals get their food from? Carnivore animals kill other animals and eat their flesh or meat. Herbivores eat plants. Omnivores eat both plants and animals. Why do we have to eat food? We have to eat food because energy from the food is utilized by us for carrying out their various body functions such as digestion, respiration, and excretion. We get our food from plants or animals or both. Since we all need food, how can we provide food to a large number of people in our country? In order to provide food for a large population, regular production, proper management, and distribution is necessary. Meaning of crop. When plants of the same kind are cultivated at one place on a large scale, it is called a crop. For example, crop of wheat means that all the plants grown in a field are that of wheat. Can be classified into two types on the basis of season. First is kharif crops and second is rabi crops. Now we will understand the meaning of kharif crop and rabi crops. Number 1, kharif crops. The crops that are sown in rainy season are called summer crops or kharif crops. These are sown in June and July and harvested at the end of monsoon season, October to November. Examples of kharif crops are paddy, maize, and cotton. These crops are dependent on the quantity of rainwater as well as its timing. Too much, too little, or rain at the wrong time may waste whole year's efforts of the farmer. In the given picture, you can see the photographs of rice and corn plants which are kharif crops. Number 2, rabi crops. The crops that are sown during October or November and harvested in April or May in India are called rabi or winter crops. Examples of rabi crops are wheat, gram, etc. Agricultural practices. For growing crops, farmers have to perform a series of activities in a particular sequence over a period of time. These activities are known as agricultural practices. These activities are similar to those carried out by a gardener or even by you when you grow ornamental plants in your house. The agricultural practices are listed below. Number one, preparation of soil. Number two, sowing. Third, adding manure and fertilizers. Fourth, irrigation. Fifth, protecting from weeds. Sixth, harvesting. Seventh, storage. Now, we will discuss each of these agricultural activity one by one. Number one, preparation of soil. Preparation of soil is the first step before growing a crop. It includes loosening of soil, removing of weeds from the soil, and leveling of soil before sowing of seeds. Loosening of soil improves the air circulation in soil, enhances the water retaining capacity of the soil, helps in the growth of earthworms and microbes present in the soil. The earthworms and microbes present in the soil are friends of the farmer since they further turn and loosen the soil and add humus to it. And loosening of the soil brings the nutrients rich soil to the top so that plants can use these nutrients. The process of loosening and turning of the soil is called plowing or tilling. This is done by using a plow. Plows are made of wood or iron. The leveling of soil is done with the help of a leveler. In the given picture, you can see that the soil is being prepared for growing a crop. Now, let us understand the meaning of humus. Humus is dark organic material that forms in soil when plant and animal matter decays. The thick brown or black substance that remains after most of the organic litter has decomposed is called humus. Earthworms often help mix humus with minerals in the soil. Number two, sowing. Sowing is the most important part of crop production. Before sowing, good quality seeds are selected. Good quality seeds are clean. Farmers prefer to use seeds which give a high yield. Sowing is the process of planting seeds. In sowing, generally little soil is placed over the seeds. Sowing can be hand sowing in which handfuls of seeds are cast over prepared ground. However, mostly seeds are sown using seed drill. The seed drill sows the seeds uniformly at equal distance and depth. Sowing of seeds by seed drill saves time and labor. Sowing the seeds at appropriate depth and distances gives good yield as there is no overcrowding of plants and the plants get sufficient sunlight, nutrients and water from the soil. In the first picture, seeds are being sown by hand, whereas in the second picture, modern seed drill is being used for sowing seeds. Now, an important point with regard to sowing of seeds. Seeds of a few plants such as paddy are first grown in a nursery. When they grow into seedlings, they are transplanted to the field manually. Some forest plants or flowering plants are also grown in the nursery. Third, adding manure and fertilizers. The substances which are added to the soil in the form of nutrients for the healthy growth of plants are called manure and fertilizers. Plants require nutrients for their proper growth and functioning. When a farmer continues to grow crops one after the other, nutrients available in the soil such as nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium reduce and the crop yield decreases automatically. Therefore, farmers have to add manure to the field to replenish the soil with nutrients. This process is called manuring. Improper or insufficient manuring results in weak plants. Manure is an organic substance which is obtained from the decomposition of plant or animal waste. Farmers dump plant and animal waste in pits at open places and allow it to decompose. The decomposition is forced by some microorganisms. The decomposed matter is used as organic manure. Fertilizers are chemicals which are rich in a particular nutrient. Fertilizers are produced in factories. Some examples of fertilizers are urea, potash, and ammonium sulfate. The use of fertilizers has helped farmers to get better yield of crops such as wheat, paddy, and maize. But excessive use of fertilizers had made the soil less fertile. Fertilizers have also become a source of water pollution. Therefore, in order to maintain the fertility of the soil, we have to substitute fertilizers with organic manure or leave the field uncultivated in between two crops. The use of manure improves soil texture as well as its water retaining capacity. It replenishes the soil with nutrients. Another method of replenishing the soil with nutrients is through crop rotation. Crop rotation is an important term and the students may be asked questions about the same in the examination. Crop rotation is the process in which the leguminous crops are grown alternately with cereal crops to restore the fertility of the soil. Examples of leguminous crops are pulses, peas, beans. Examples of non-leguminous crops are wheat, cereals. But rotating crops in a field, you deprive parasites of their habitual environment, thereby preventing crop diseases.
Now we will understand the difference between fertilizer and manure. Fertilizer is a human-made or natural substance, whereas in the case of manure, it is a natural material obtained by the decomposition of cattle dung, human waste, and plant residues. Fertilizer is prepared in factories, whereas manure is prepared in the fields. Fertilizer does not provide any humus to the soil, whereas manure provides a lot of humus to the soil. Fertilizers are rich in plant nutrients. Manure is less rich in plant nutrients. Fertilizer is quickly absorbed by the plants, whereas manure is slowly absorbed by plants. Fertilizer is costly. On the other hand, manure is economical. In the case of fertilizer, it causes harm to the living organism present in the soil, whereas manure has no side effects. We may also add that we have already uploaded many courses such as email writing, present tense, past tense, future tense, cybersecurity, letter writing, debate writing, note writing, most common mistakes in English grammar, web applications, forms of business organizations, DBMS, and much more. You can look out for the same on YouTube, Google, our own website, Udemy, Tutorials Point, etc.
Now, we will understand the meaning of irrigation. Plants contain nearly 90% water. The roots of the plant absorb water, minerals, and fertilizers from the soil and transport them to each part of the plant. Plants contain nearly 90% water. Water is essential because germination of seeds does not take place under dry conditions. Water is important for proper growth and development. Water also protects the crop from both frost and OTR fronts. The supply of water to crops at regular intervals is called irrigation. The time and frequency of irrigation varies from crop to crop, soil to soil, and season to season. In summer, the frequency of watering is higher because in summer the rate of evaporation of water from the soil and the leaves is higher as compared to other seasons. Sources of irrigation. The sources of water for irrigation are wells, tube wells, ponds, lakes, rivers, dams, and canals. Traditional methods of irrigation are number one, moat. Number 2, chain pump. Third, dekli and rahat. Cattle or human labor is used in these methods. These methods are cheaper but less efficient. Now, we will study modern methods of irrigation. Modern methods of irrigation help us to use water economically. The main methods used are as follows. First is sprinkler system. This system is more useful on the uneven land where sufficient water is not available. In this method of irrigation, the water under pressure flows through a network of pipes and escapes through small nozzles. Water gets sprinkled on the crop as if it is raining. Second is drip system. In this method, the water falls drop by drop just at or near the roots. So it is called drip system. It is the best technique for watering fruit plants, gardens and trees. Water is not wasted at all. It is a very useful technique for those regions where availability of water is poor. Fifth, protecting from weeds. This is another important task which the farmers have to perform. In a field, many other undesirable plants may grow naturally along with the crop. These unwanted plants in the field are called weeds. Seeds of these weeds spread through the agencies like air, water, birds, and other animals. The removal of weeds is called weeding. Weeding is necessary because weeds compete with the crop plants for water, sunlight, space, and nutrients. This adversely affects the growth of the crop. Some weeds may be poisonous for animals and human beings. Weeds are removed either by hand or with the help of implements such as khurpi and hoe. Weeds are also controlled by using certain chemicals called weedicides. These are sprayed in the fields to kill the weeds. Now, an important question arises with regards to weedicides. Do weedicides have any effect on the person handling the weedicide sprayer? Spraying of weedicides may affect the health of farmers, so they should cover their nose and mouth with a piece of cloth during spraying of these chemicals. 6. Harvesting. When crops get matured, they usually turn yellow or golden or brown. This is the time when crops should be cut. Harvesting is the process of cutting the mature crop. Harvesting is separating the crop from the soil. Harvesting in our country is either done manually by a sickle or by a machine called harvester. After the harvesting of crops, next step is threshing. Threshing is the process in which stems of wheat or paddy are beaten to separate grains from the stems and from the chaff that cover the grains. It is the step in grain processing after harvesting and before winnowing. It is done by striking harvesting crop against a hard surface. Threshing may be done manually or by threshing machine. A traditional method of threshing is to make donkeys or oxen walk in circles on the grain on a hard surface. Today, in developed areas, threshing is mostly done by a combined harvester which harvests, threshes, and winnows the grain while it is still in the field. Farmers with small holdings of land do the separation of grains from husk and dust particles by winnowing. Winnowing is an ancient agricultural method for separating grain from chaff with the help of the wind. Mixture of grain and husk are allowed to fall from a height. Due to wind, the lighter chaff or husk flies away and the heavier grains fall on the ground. In this process, a winnowing fan or winnowing machine or a tool called winnowing fork may also be used. You can see in the first picture that mixture is being fallen from some height. In the second picture, winnowing fork is being used. Third picture shows winnowing fan. 7. Storage. Now, Let us understand why and how storage of produce is carried out by farmers. Storage of produce is an important task. If the harvested grains are to be kept for longer time, they should be safe from moisture, insects, weeds, and microorganisms. Harvested grains have more moisture. If freshly harvested grains are stored without drying, they may get spoiled or attacked by organisms, making them unfit for use or for germination. Hence, before storing them, the grains are properly dried in the sun to reduce the moisture content. This prevents the attack by insect pests, bacteria, and fungi. The farmers stored the dried food grains at home in metal bins and jute bags. Dried neem leaves are used for storing food grains at home. Large-scale storage of grains is done in silos and granaries. The harvested grains are usually stored in huge stores called granaries. Grains are put in gunny bags with their mouths stitched. These bags are kept one over the other in the granaries. The pesticides are spread on the gunny bags from time to time to protect them from being destroyed. The tanks, which are used for large-scale storage of grains, are known as silos. They have an inbuilt arrangement for protecting of grains from pests. Animal husbandry. A large number of farmers in India depend on animal husbandry for their livelihood. Animal husbandry is a branch of agriculture which is concerned with rearing and breeding of animals. Examples of animal husbandry are beekeeping, horse breeding, raising cattle, dog breeding, pig farming. The animals are raised for meat, fiber, milk, eggs, or other products. Animals are also raised for sport, pleasure, and research. How are manures prepared by the farmers? Farmers dump plant and animal waste in pits at open places and allow them to decompose. The decomposition is caused by some microorganisms. Over a period of time, the decomposed matter converts into manure. Now, some important questions. How excessive irrigation is harmful to the crops? Answer. The excessive irrigation leads to waterlogging. Too much water inhibits the process of germination of seeds. Roots do not grow properly in a standing water field. The crop may fall on the ground under the effect of strong winds. Next, why should we grow seeds in moist soil? Answer. Actually, seeds need moisture and sunlight to germinate. So we put seeds in moist soil so that seeds can take sufficient water from soil and take sunlight for its growth. In most cases, moist, well draining soil is desirable, while wet or waterlogged soil should be avoided. Next, why is it necessary to sow seeds at appropriate depth and distance? The seeds should be sown at appropriate depth because seeds sown superficially on the ground can be eaten by the birds or can be easily carried away by wind. If the seeds are sown too deep, they will not be able to germinate. So the seeds should be sown at appropriate depth and distance to avoid the overcrowding so that the plants get sufficient space, sunlight, nutrients, and water. What is humus? The plants drop leaves, twigs, and other material to the ground. Further, animals die on the ground. Over time, all the litter decomposes. Humus is dark organic material that forms in soil due to decomposition of dead plants and dead animals. Humus contains many useful nutrients for soil. One of the most important nutrients is nitrogen. Humus can be produced naturally or through a process called composting. Earthworms often help mix humus with minerals in the soil. What are organic foods? Organic food is produced without synthetic pesticides, herbicides, fertilizers, genetically modified organisms, growth hormones, and sewage sludge. Organic meat, poultry, eggs, and dairy products come from animals that are given no antibiotics or growth hormones. Organic food generally contains higher levels of antioxidants, vitamin C, zinc, and iron. Organic food is expensive than conventional food because the supply of organic food is limited as compared to demand. Production costs are higher because of greater labor inputs. This part of food industry is booming. The organic fruits and vegetables have shorter shelf life than the conventional ones because they are not treated with vaccines and preservatives which are supposed to keep them on the shelf longer. People with allergies to food eat only organic foods. Organic farms are smaller than conventional ones and also take, on average, more time to produce crops because they refrain from using chemicals and growth hormones used by conventional farms. Next, despite favorable climatic conditions, a farmer's crop failed to give good yield. Give the possible reasons for this. If despite favorable climatic conditions a farmer crop failed to give good yield, the possible reasons may be as under. Number 1. He did not use good quality seeds. Number 2. Seeds were not sown at appropriate distance. Third, weeds were not removed. Fourth, inappropriate irrigation of crop. Inappropriate irrigation of crop. Fifth, manures and fertilizers were not applied properly and timely. Sixth, the soil was not plowed and leveled properly. Next, you may have seen grains kept on the terrace. Can you suggest a reason or why is it necessary to dry grains before storing them? The wheat grains are kept on the terrace to get them dried in the sunshine before storing. It is necessary to keep the wheat grains in the sun because the moisture content in the food grains promotes the growth of fungus and molds on the grains which damages them. Next, leguminous plants do not require nitrogenous fertilizers. Why? Leguminous plants do not require nitrogenous fertilizers because leguminous plants have the same effect on the field as adding nitrogenous fertilizers in the field. Leguminous plants have nitrogen fixing bacteria in their root nodules. These bacteria fix atmospheric nitrogen into nitrogenous compounds. These compounds can be used by plants easily to increase the crop yield. Examples of leguminous plants are peas, beans, peanuts.
Now we conclude this course. The agricultural practices can be classified into 7 series of activities which have to be performed by the farmer in a particular sequence over a period of time. The first is preparation of soil, which means that the soil has to be loosened, weeds have to be removed, as well as leveling of the soil has to be done. Next is sowing. The seeds have to be sown at appropriate depth and there has to be a proper distance between the seeds. Then the manure and fertilizers have to be added to the plants so that there is proper development of the crop. Then the fourth activity is irrigation. We have to properly give water to the crop so that there is proper growth of the crops. If we irrigate, that is if we give more water to the plants, it is quite possible that there is not proper growth of plants. Then we have to protect the plants from weeds. We can do this activity with the help of manually or with the help of machines or using weedicides. Then when the crop is mature, we have to cut it. It is called harvesting. Then after cutting the crops, we have to store the crop. If the crop is not stored, it may be destroyed by rats or by moisture. So when we store the crop, before that we have to we may have to keep it in sunlight so that moisture content in the crop is reduced. For the purpose of storage, we can store the crops in granaries or in large silos.
If you like our video, please like, share and subscribe our channel. Thank you.